Apparently this makes your laptop faster, and I'm gonna find out. Because I know a lot of Windows laptops like this one over here that runs very hot. Does it actually give you some performance improvement, especially if you're running your laptop on a dock or on a workstation kind of setup at home? I'm gonna find out, because if I leave performance on the table, I'm gonna find out. It's so annoying. I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to just change my Windows wallpaper just because my Windows isn't licensed. Well, why don't you try Hookeys? That's a ton cheaper, and if you use the code TN20, you get it even cheaper. What do you mean? How do I get it and how is it possible? Well, see this video here, or the one you're watching? Click in the link on the video description, add the Windows 11 CD product to the cart, proceed to checkout, add the code TN20 for the extra discount. So what, the Windows 11 Pro OEM key is just $23.22? Yeah. Choose the preferred payment option and complete the purchase. The key will be available on the purchased orders in a few moments. Copy the key and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and you're all done. Oh, that was easy. Is that Ryan Gosling? No. Anyway, by the way, the same discount code also works website-wide, so go check out other products, maybe like Microsoft Office. Okay, you might think that this is just a simple laptop cooling pad. I thought the same thing, but the biggest question here is, does it actually work and how much performance are we getting? Especially as a creator, this is very, very hot, running very, very loud right now. And I wonder if this can actually help us here. And that's just how this works. Is there is a fan underneath here that spins. It's a standard fan. I thought maybe we can upgrade it to like a Noctua or some other fan. It's just a fan inside there and a little dust cover. We can pull these feet up or have them even higher if you want to get it extra long. But I think this will do for me for now. We're going to place it just like that. And then we'll put this foam around here. Basically this insulates it, so that only the air from the bottom gets on the bottom of the laptop. Well, actually, we'll put it on this side. Adjustments of the fan speed, long press to power on, and then here we can switch the light modes. And there's actually a little hub here as well. So if you plug in USB-C, it comes with USB type A to type C. If you plug that into your laptop, you can get like keyboard and mouse, like a little dock in here as well. So we'll plug that in. So it comes with an extra filter and a cable. So what you're seeing there right now is my CPU has been pinging for about 20 minutes now, and then our GPU has done exactly the same. As you can see, we're just going for it. That little dip is when our CPU test probably ended and it took another one, then it kind of dips a little bit of a usage. And when we're looking at the temperatures, what we can see right now is our maximum temperature has gone to 87 degrees. The average has been 78.3 degrees. Okay, right now we're roughly around the 78 on the CPU side. The chassis is very hot. We're pushing only 33 watts through the CPU because all the other power gets pushed to the GPU. Here, 88 watts to the GPU, so roughly around 120 watts, something like that in there. We are on best performance mode. The question now is that our GPU, 76 degrees, can we actually make it cooler if we just put this laptop onto here? Right up here. One thing that I noticed instantly is it also goes quieter when on top of that. It's already dropping 77 degrees now. I think, oh, okay, now because we can't get any air from underneath, it kind of starts clogging itself, but we're gonna turn it on. Let's take a look what happens with our CPU. Are we gonna go cooler or not? 75 degrees. Look at that. Our GPU temperatures went higher. And then now they're dropping. I've got it very, very loud. So let's say now you're doing some kind of rendering test or something like that. It is pushing a lot of air out from the sides. Look at this. Our hotspot and temperatures have gone from over 80 degrees to now being under 80 degrees. I'm turning the fan speed down a little bit because it's still dropping actually. There's 5 minutes left in there. So let's see the CPU package, 74 degrees now. So interestingly, it is going down. The GPU makes the biggest difference because that's where we're pushing the most power. The CPU is basically, because it's on the same heat pipe, just getting the same heat. So when we cool the GPU down, that means that our CPU cools down as well. We have pushed 105 watts on our GPU at absolute maximum. We're 84 watts in there right now. So if I'm gonna stop this, it's probably gonna go higher. But the question is, I wanna know if the cooling pad actually makes a difference. And I've got a real test to actually prove it. So I'm just gonna X this off and I'm gonna stop this as well. And I'm just gonna reset these. And what I have here is an actual encoder of an actual real video. So we're gonna test how long does it take to actually complete this. So we're gonna leave this running there. So we'll actually see what CPU package and what temperatures will go there. Making sure that we get the most cooling in here. And let's take a look. All right, I have actually been testing this behind the scenes for a bit. And I found some interesting things. Number one, the first thing you'd like to know is, did it actually work? And I've got some good news. So right now I completed this with the pad on, and that is 21 minutes and 41 seconds of a render of over a 20-minute clip. And then here I did a screenshot of the previous test that I did just on the table without any pad on, and that was 22 minutes and 54 seconds. So over 1 minute 10 seconds faster with the cooling pad on. But then I discovered some interesting things, because that wasn't my first test result that I managed to get with this. Because at first I got higher scores and I was like, surely that can't be right because I've got it on and then it's higher. But I figured out what the problem is. Now, here's the thing. You got to be very, very careful with how you lay the laptop down here, because at first I just kind of splashed it on here and thought that, you know, the P16 Pro Art P16, that's what I'm using over here, it would just kind of work. But there are a few interesting things here. This laptop actually has the vent out from the bottom over here as well, just above this bit in there. So it pushes the air out from there, and then from the edge between the crack, just between the screen and this bit. What I actually had was, I had the laptop shifted back. So this actually sunk into this part of the seal. So I'll show you this on the side. So I had it seal up just like that into there, and which meant that that seal actually blocked some of the exit of the air just around these vents. And then when I moved it further down so that it's kind of just like that, then suddenly I got massively higher scores. So when putting the seal on and your laptop on this pad, just be a little bit mindful of how you're using this and, you know, how you plan to actually put this down there. So if I just slotted it further down in there, actually it even blocks some of the outlet of the air out even on the bottom. So that's not ideal. So what I would have to do was just slot it slightly back so I can check that, yep, the exit is clear and I'm actually pushing it out even on the bottom there, and that was a massive difference. That being said, I'm seeing a lot lower temperatures on GPU and CPU when the cooling pad is on. So it truly, truly works. And I don't think you're actually gonna have to push it all the way up to 2800, because it is quite fast. Even just a little bit would work on this. But the whole reason for this cooling pad, basically how this works is, it gets cool air from the bottom onto the intake of the laptop that has an intake on the bottom right over there. So it pushes the air onto the bottom, but not just that, it also filters it because remember earlier part, there's a filter underneath. So that just helps your system to get less dust in it as well if you're using it in a system set up just like that. Now, this is the V12 version. There's a V10 version as well that is for slightly smaller laptops, but I would say from 16 inches and bigger, this is the laptop one to get for you. If you've got a very expensive laptop like this Pro IP16, the number one thing that kills these laptops is heat. Whenever you've got too much heat on the CPU or GPU, you can fry the GPU and CPU, or one of them. And because it's a laptop, it's not just so simple as putting a new one in and off you go. The whole thing becomes useless. So to invest a little bit of money to actually get this cooling, I see this as a very wise investment. That got me thinking, which is about the Mac compatibility. I'm using a Mac, and if you're using a Mac, do not get it at all for Mac. This is not meant for Mac, and it's not going to work. In fact, it's probably going to make it worse. I'll show you why. Now, this is a MacBook Pro M4 Max 16-inch. The actual air intake on the Mac is on the side. Can you see these bits over here on the side and on that side? And then the exhaust is from there. So when you're going to put this on the top over there, this is actually going to block all of the intake from the sides, and you're going to suffocate the Mac. And that is a not good idea if you're using a MacBook Pro. At the same time, if you're using a MacBook Air doesn't have any ventilation, and the whole cooling system is kind of on the bottom of the device. MacBook Airs will work with it, but only the 15-inch. The 13-inch won't work, because if you put the MacBook Air on the bottom over there, especially if you've got my thermal pad mod on it, because then the whole bottom becomes a heat sink. And if you're using it in a clamp mode, or you've got it in a docking station at home, this is a great idea, because that cools the bottom of the MacBook Air and makes it much faster. Because the MacBook Air is passive, now suddenly you've got active cooling on your MacBook Air, which is a great idea. But don't do it on the Pro versions of the MacBooks. It's got pretty cool light modes over here. You can go different modes. So either breathing, or it goes around, and then you can switch the colors as well. But if you want to customize it a little bit, you can do that. I've spent quite a lot of time thinking who this is really for then. Will every laptop cooling works for it? Not really. Like I mentioned, the Mac compatibility. But I think the best performance increase is for people who use a gaming laptop for creative or docking workstation kind of situations where you plug in other screens and bits around, or if you want to even game on it, this is probably the best performance for you. And if your laptop size is bigger than 16-inch, 16, 17, 18, then you're going to see the biggest difference in there. Now, when talking about the price, I can see online this is going roughly around $100, maybe even less if you're still getting the deal. So go check it out in the video description below if you want to check it out. And also, if you've got a white or light laptop, you can get the white version of this, because that will fit into your system a little bit more. Now, there are a few things that I would change, and I would maybe say back to Lano that, perhaps think about these things. This seal, I wish that this seal was not just loose, but it would have some kind of a glue or seal underneath here, so it would actually stick down onto there. Because if I'm going to put my laptop on the top part just over there, okay, and then now if I'm going to press this full speed, it actually pushes the seal up, and some of the air starts to come out from the front over here. Can you see this bit here? The air is coming loose, and it's coming from this side. Can you see? And then another suggestion of improvement I have is with these legs. Now, the front of the pad has these rubber legs, and there's a fantastic. And if you've got it laid flat, you've got the rubber legs in there. But if you push it up to a higher position, suddenly this doesn't have rubber legs anymore. Or if you go to the higher position, again, we have no rubber legs in there, and then it's not as kind of solid of a grip as it is on there. I wish there was some kind of rubber feet on the bottom there as well. Okay, thanks guys for watching. If you want to check it out in the video description below. If you want to reach out, I'll always get back to my messages, and check out some other PC builds in the video description below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know if you're using a laptop cooling pad, and if you're using one, which one are you using? I'll see you in the comment section below. Bye bye.